Welcome everyone back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel.
Yay!
Woohoo! We are so excited to be here with you today. I mean, this is a good one. This is such a good one here today. A lot of people are tuning in for our craft today.
Oh yeah, so today we're gonna be making like the bar necklaces using your Cricut. This is all gonna be under $10.
No way.
Yeah, so super excited for that.
And you're using the Cricut.
We are using the Cricut.
No way.
One thing that I do want to make clear before we get started is you do have to have either a Maker or a Maker 3 to do this craft because we are using the engraving tool.
I love that.
So just to be clear, you do have to have a Maker or a Maker 3.
Yes.
Unless somehow, if you can figure out how to cut vinyl that small.
Now, that would be hard. So what Lauren's pretty much saying is if you've had an Explore and you're humoring the idea of a Maker, hone in today on the project to see the adaptive tool highlighted.
Yes.
Now, a lot of you may raise your hand, whoa. I know a way I could backhand and engrave with my Explorer. You are welcome to do so. But if you're wanting to get precise results every time, if you're wanting to get the best quality and consistency, which is what we have to teach because we teach to the masses, this is the best way to do it. And this looks so good. Like, I'm so excited for this project.
So trendy.
Well, Tabitha, who runs our email marketing, her husband paid over $100 for her to have something almost identical. So she's ecstatic for this tutorial.
Yeah, I also have one. I don't wear it anymore, but I got one a couple years ago with my father's handwriting on it. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to take handwriting and turn it into an SVG today. We are taking a Maker's Gonna Learn font, which comes in super handy, the fact that we have those writing fonts.
Yes.
Because the writing fonts are key when it comes to engraving with your Cricut.
I love that.
So definitely, you'll
have to show us the writing fonts because we all need to see it. Those are going to be good.
The writing fonts was one of the big things when I first came here, and I think it wasn't my very first project, but it was close to the first.
Yeah, one of the first
was teaching y'all how to fill in your fonts using Maker's Gonna Learn fonts.
We love it.
And then after that, I requested, hey, can we get some writing fonts, like single line fonts? So when we come up with those, I was super excited.
Yes, I love that. Now,
so today we're going to be making these beautiful bar necklaces, and I know you can't see it on camera one, so let's go overhead. And I'm going to use this mat so it will focus in on this necklace so you all can see it. Y'all, look how cute.
Look at it.
Can y'all see that? Can they see that, Sadie?
Yeah, get it real close.
Right there?
Ooh.
How's that?
Let's keep it there for a second just so everybody can take it in.
So these necklaces, this was inspired by a Christmas gift that I got a couple years ago. And I realized that a lot of people are wearing these bar necklaces now. They have their kids' names on them. A lot of people.
Move it up, son, just a little bit.
Move it up?
Like towards the. Yeah, there we go.
Is that better?
I think so. That'll be perfect.
Okay, but this was inspired by.
Awesome, you're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the reason that I wanted to do this is because, first of all, it's super easy to engrave with your Cricut. And I wanted you all to realize that you can engrave more than just the Cricut materials. Like, we took this, it does take some learning. It's a learning curve because this is a very small piece of metal. So it's a little bit of a learning curve to get it right on your mat. But once you figure it out, y'all, it is absolutely amazing. Another thing that you could do is if you wanted to do it as like a wedding gift for someone getting married, you could do Roman numeral dates with the day that they're getting married, or Roman numeral dates of their first child's, the date of their child's birth. I'm obsessed with like the Roman numeral thing.
I love that too. It's not in your face, and that's what I really appreciate.
Right. So let's go ahead and talk about all the materials that you're gonna need. So first off is our bar, okay? This is the base of our necklace. So this is a pack. I'm pretty sure we have the Amazon link down below. These come in 3 different colors, silver, gold, and rose gold. So you can choose which one you want. Now I will say if you are doing the gold, this is more of like what a true gold would look like. So if you're ordering the chain to go on them, just be careful. If it was me, I would want to like go to your local craft store, or if there's a store that sells jewelry making supplies, just to see what that gold looks like to make sure they match up, because sometimes you can get these chains and the gold can be a lot more yellow and they may not match. So I would just be leery about that when you're ordering. But to start out with, you're definitely gonna need these bars. Next up, we have just a roll of link for the necklace part, okay? Now the reason we need this instead of just a regular pre-assembled necklace is because we're gonna be attaching this chain to either side of the bar, and then we will have to attach the lobster clasp, which this chain is very long, mind you. I've not cut this down because I'm going to show you how to attach the lobster clasps and everything, but you're gonna attach the lobster clasp, one on each side, and then a jump hoop on the other so that it attaches this way. But that's why you're gonna need not the pre-assembled necklaces, but the chain that you can buy on the roll. Okay?
Lindsay's wondering, could you just gift the bar, because I was worried about the color of chain also.
I mean, if you really wanted to, but then in the same breath, like, what would they put it on would be my next question. Unless you did it on like a keychain kind of thing.
Lindsay, I think you just use your best judgment and get something amazing. And we've also had someone mention like putting your kids' like medical information on a necklace or a bracelet or necklace. That would be really cool. Like I have nut allergies, so that would be neat. This is like going to be a really great project. A lot of you are already thinking, hey, I want to make sure this is a project that I make as a gift. This is a great one. And Lauren, we are not seeing on there. Oh, we do have the, we have the whole supply list on here, guys. So open up the description down below. We have linked the Maker Series, engraving tool, mats, masking tape, bar necklace, necklace chain, and jewelry pliers. All of that is linked down below. That is an Amazon affiliate link, so we do earn a small commission if you use our links at no cost to you. Thanks, guys, for supporting everything we do here.
So the next biggest thing that you're gonna need, obviously, is your engraving. This is your adaptive tool with the tip number 41. This is the engraving tip. The thing that I love about the adaptive tool is that you can, I feel like I'm about to sneeze.
Uh-oh.
But I'm not going to. Just give me a second.
You guys cannot hear all the rain. It started raining out of, bless you, bless you.
Thank you, thank you.
It started raining crazy here.
Yes. Okay, so we are using the tip number 41. That is the engraving tip. It is pretty sharp, but what I was saying about the adaptive tool that I love is having this button so that it's a quick swap housing, and you can change that out for the debossing tool, the scoring wheel. There's many different things you can do.
Ones. Yeah, they're always adding more too.
Yes. So I love that. You are going to need a set of jewelry pliers. This is going to be very, very helpful when it comes to opening up the rings that you're going to attach this to the chain to.
You kind of couldn't do it without them, right?
I don't think you could. I would not be able to. So I do think you need a pair of, you don't have to have specific jewelry pliers, but as long as you have like needle nose pliers, that's going to work. We do have wire cutters too, because that's what I use to cut this off the spool. Masking tape is important. Very, very important to this project, okay? And then, of course, we have a strong grip mat. And y'all, this is a pretty new strong grip mat. This is going to be important as well, okay? Having this strong grip mat to keep this bar down so that when the Cricut does engrave it, it stays where it's supposed to be. Super, super important. So, those are our supplies. Pretty minimal. Now, I'm not going to say you're probably not going to have a bunch of this stuff laying around, but the good part about it is when you purchase all of these different bars and you purchase a roll of this chain, y'all, you could make, what, I would say you could at least make possibly 10 necklaces.
I was thinking 6 or 7 if I was like a betting man.
Yeah.
But I could see it being like up to 10.
I mean, if you're doing bracelets, you can obviously get
sure.
more than necklaces. And once you get the hang of it with the first necklace, as you can see, I cut this chain really, really long. So I'm gonna have like excess that really and truly I could have used, if it was still together, I could have used it as one other side. So once you learn the length that you need to cut your chain, that's going to save you some material as well. But we'll talk about that, and we'll actually measure together, and we will measure how long each side needs to be for like an 18-inch necklace, a 20-inch necklace, 16-inch, whatever.
Yes.
Okay?
Now, we do have some friends just tuning in. So, Lauren, what machine can I use to make this project?
So the machine that we're using today for this project is either the Cricut Maker or the Maker 3. Because we are using the adaptive tool today, this cannot be used on an Explore series machine, unfortunately, but we wanted to still highlight that so that our friends that do have a Maker or a Maker 3 can use this. And also, so if you don't have a Maker or a Maker 3, you can make an educated decision later on down the road if you want to upgrade. Because the Explore series machines, they are great machines, but they don't have all of the functionalities of a Maker.
For example, the Maker series has 10 times the pressure.
Yes.
And hence today we are engraving on, what is this, metal?
This is metal.
So this is metal. We're engraving on metal. This is where that 10 times pressure comes into play.
Yes.
So if you only have an Explore series, this is one of the few live shows that we are using an adaptive tool that is not available for an Explore machine. So like I was saying earlier, sit back, relax, and see if this would help send it over the edge for you to invest in a Maker. Not that we want to sell you a machine.
No.
We are here to make an amazing project, and if you don't have an Explore machine, I think you'll still get a lot out of knowing this. Lauren even suggests get a bigger piece of metal and then cut vinyl. You know what I mean? This could be a really great practice for you to cut some really thin vinyl, which I think could be fun.
That could be fun too. But the good thing about it is we, the Maker right now, so the Maker series, the original Maker, which if I was giving you my personal opinion, my favorite machine is the original Maker.
It's a really good machine.
I don't know why I keep going back to the original Maker. It's not that I don't like the Maker 3. My Maker has never let me down. Like, it has never let me down. And right now, you can find a Maker series, an original Maker series machine for pretty cheap.
Yes,
like
for
I want to
sure.
say you can find them
$220?
under. I've seen them under $200.
Yeah,
There was
amazing.
we had a friend in our Facebook group, which if you are not a part of Maker's Gonna Learn, we have an absolutely amazing Facebook group. She had posted a picture that she found a Maker series machine at Walmart.
Amazing.
Get this, $151.
No way.
Yes. Yes.
Where is that deal for me?
That's what I'm saying. She was like, is it justified? I was like, honey, that's justified every single day, all day.
All day.
Yes. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and we're going to jump into our project. So before we go over to Maker's Gonna Learn, first thing that I want to do is I'm going to measure the size of my bar. So I have my trusty measuring tape here. And speaking of measuring tapes, if I can find the other one.
You want a Maker's Gonna Learn measuring tape?
Yeah, I want a Maker's Gonna Learn measuring tape.
Here, you can show them the Maker's Gonna Learn one. Ooh. And y'all, real quick, if you have not grabbed your ticket to Make-a-thon, we have sold now 400 tickets to Make-a-thon. If you want a ticket to Make-a-thon, March 4th, mark your calendars. The deal is going to end soon. So if you want a swag bag and get $70 off, don't walk, run over, claim your ticket. It's going to be huge. We're pumped. So get your swag bag and get your ticket now.
So I don't know if you all can tell based on my shirt and the logo on our new measuring tape, but we're obsessed with our new like little floral logo.
Yes.
But what we're going to do is we're going to measure our bar. So it's going to be hard for you guys to see, and I apologize. We are going to start this at 0. So we're looking at, honestly, we're looking about 1 3/8 probably for the length of our bar, and then we are looking at right at 1/4 for the height. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna head over to Maker's Gonna Learn, and y'all, we're gonna have to zoom this baby in today. We're gonna have to zoom it in 200%. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab a shape. I'm just gonna grab a square. We're gonna pull that in. We're gonna unlock it. Remember I said our height was 1/4 inch, so that's 0.25, okay? And our width was 1 3/8, if I'm not mistaken, which is 1.375.
Ooh. Now, the difference between the Maker and a Cameo 4 is very different. I would definitely recommend the Maker 3 due to the fact there is more like easier software, and I do have a Cameo 4 in the office. It is just not comparable due to the weight, the pressure, you know, that you have. The Cricut, I think, weighs almost double of the Cameo.
For those that are new to our channel, I actually learned how to use a die cutting machine on a silhouette. We do have a very basic beginner's guide to a silhouette, which is great. But after I started using Cricut, you know, we all have issues with Design Space every now and then. No lies to tell. There are things with Silhouette Design Studio that I am obsessed with, especially on the business level of things. However, the software, it's just different.
Yes.
It's different. It's still, it's a good machine. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's just, I think it's a personal preference.
Yeah.
So back over into our share screen. I'm actually going to, I said that our measurement on our bar was 1 3/8, but what I forgot to tell you guys is I didn't take into consideration where the holes were. So let's go back overhead. And where the holes are, we're looking at 1 1/4. So what I'm gonna do, back over to our share screen, I'm just gonna pull this guide back down to 1.25, which is the decimal equivalent to 1 1/4, okay?
Love it.
So once we have our guide here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a font. So we're gonna head back over to Maker's Gonna Learn.
Now, to our friends that are on the fence about getting a membership, she's about to show you some of these. Is it technically monoline fonts?
Yes.
It's a monoline writing font, which is super, super neat, and you're going to love this. So definitely come in, focus in on this next part.
So what I'm gonna search now is I'm going to search monoline, okay? Not gonna search monoline. We are going to, let's try single line. Is that what it's under?
I think you just search. I think, look under the category. Why don't we look under?
It's under sketch fonts.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so the monoline or single line fonts that we have here at Maker's Gonna Learn are going to be called sketch fonts, okay? What that is if you wanted to write a note with your Cricut, you're gonna be able to do that, and it's just gonna have one line. Whereas, let's just take this sketchy sketch font, for example. If you were to write this with your Cricut is going to outline all of these letters and leave the inside hollow. So what the sketch fonts do is it allows your Cricut to just do this single line all the way through, so it looks like it's handwriting, which I love. Another super amazing part of Maker's Gonna Learn with the fonts is the font preview. So if you know what you want to say on your necklace, all you have to do is come over here, type it in, and y'all, it pulls it right up. So let's say we want to do one that says, Sadie, throw me a name out.
Shane and Bailey.
Okay, we'll do Shane plus Bailey.
Let's do Shane plus Sadie. Shane plus Sadie. Sorry. I was just thinking of names of some of our friends.
Okay, so we want to Shane plus Sadie, okay? So now you can scroll down through here and you can see which font you want. Now, one thing I do want to say with this necklace, if you are creating one of these necklaces, the handwriting fonts or the cursive fonts are not going to look as good as your blocky fonts.
Now, Lauren,
yes,
you didn't have to download any of these fonts.
No.
But you're getting to see exactly what it would look like when they're complete, like when your project's done. So this is saving you how much time, y'all, from trying to download and be like, oh, I'll have to download 5 fonts and then maybe one of them will work. Oh, wait, none of them worked. This is the big difference, y'all, especially for Makers Gonna Learn. You know these fonts have commercial license. If you see it here at Makers Gonna Learn, you are able to use it, which we adore.
So fun fact, when I was actually creating this necklace, I really thought that I was gonna go with Albuquerque Sketch. For sure thought that Albuquerque Sketch was the one I was going to, but I knew I wanted to add a plus sign into this necklace. So I typed it in and I looked at that plus sign and I was like, that plus sign is not it. It is not it. So that's why I was able to go with a different one and not have to download so many. And I was able to pick the one that I wanted. So that is just my little spiel. Sadie, do you have a specific one you like the best?
Ooh.
I liked the Kayla. I do like the Albuquerque. Barefoot Joanna is another great one.
Wait, so did you use Albuquerque on your sample today?
No.
It looked like a Barefoot Joanna.
On the sample today, I used, give me a second.
You used Barefoot Joanna.
I did use Barefoot Joanna.
I can spot that font anywhere. Y'all, if you want to know Tanner's favorite font, it's Barefoot Joanna.
Barefoot Joanna.
I love it.
But this blinded light sketch is really cute too.
I love that too.
But I remember looking at this one for the one that I made, and I was like, it didn't look right with their names.
Yeah.
But with Sadie and Shane's name, I think it's cute.
Exactly why you need the software.
We'll just go with Barefoot Joanna just because that's the one that we did use for this one. So what you're going to do to download a font is you're going to click this little icon that has the arrow pointing down. You don't even have to open this up. One click download, y'all. If you don't, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Then you're going to come down here and you're going to unzip this file. Then you're going to open it up, and then from there you're going to install the font. Now this is pretty much the same across the board. If you are working with a Windows or a Mac, it's going to be the same. They're going to download in different areas. Mac is going to download in your font book. Windows is going to download in your character map, but all you have to do is install the font.
Lauren is about to give y'all a video that's working with like your Mac, your PC, and your iOS. So all of the #1 softwares that you'd want to use for a font is about to be out. So that way we'll reference it and you'll have some really great training at all times. Woohoo!
So now that we have downloaded that into our font book, I'm going to come back over here to Cricut Design Space. Now, this is a trick that we've been talking about for the last little bit, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to save my project because I do have my guide here that I don't want to get rid of. So now my project is saved, and I'm going to come up here to View, and I'm going to reload Cricut Design Space. So once you download a font, if you already have Cricut Design Space opened up and you do not re-download it, or you do not reload Design Space, then it's not going to show up. Used to, it would tell you, exit out, come back in, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do that now. All you have to do is hit that view and reload, and it comes right back up. And y'all, we can come over here to our text. We're gonna go to our system fonts because this is where you're gonna find all of your Makers Gonna Learn fonts. We're just gonna type in Barefoot, bada bing, bada boom, there we go. Okay. So once we have our name or names or multiple names, Roman numerals, whatever, let me go ahead, let's do a quick little, because I think this is going to really wow you guys. Let's say you wanted to do Roman numerals, okay?
Ooh.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm gonna bring this down. Sadie, when did you and Shane start dating? Do you know the date? Do you know the date? Okay, so 2. So we're gonna do I for 2.
Ooh.
We're gonna do 2 spaces. Well, actually, we don't need to do 2 because I don't want a period. But we're gonna do 2 spaces.
February 12th.
February 12th. So that's gonna be an X and an I. A couple more spaces.
What year?
What year?
2019? Yeah.
Anyway, let's just say XV.
Here, I'll find it.
Okay,
Look, we
find
can
it real quick.
Google it.
because I want to show you guys how you can do this.
It's MMXIX. And the best part is
MMXIX.
yeah, you can actually just search Roman numeral 2019 and it just pops up. So
there you
that's
go.
super cool.
Okay, so now we have our Roman numerals here. What I want to do, I'm going to click on this text again, go to the end, and I'm going to click enter, and I'm going to put 2 periods in here, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my advanced features. I'm going to ungroup to lines. That's going to put my 2 periods down here. I'm going to select those. I'm going to go back to advanced, ungroup to letters, and then I'm going to take my 2 little dots and place them up here in between. Where'd my other little one go? There he is. I'm going to place them in between the Roman numerals.
Ooh.
I mean, y'all.
Ooh.
Do you want that one or do you want the Sadie Plus shape?
I feel like I would wear the Roman numerals.
Oh, she says she would wear the Roman numerals.
So I'm going to attach those together. Okay.
Look at that.
Then we're going to place it within. We're going to pull this one down. We'll delete him out. We're going to pull this down. We're going to measure it so that it fits within our guide. And then we're going to select both of them. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my guide. I'm going to turn it back into a basic cut. Y'all, this is important. Just hang up with me. Changing it to white, basic cut. I'm going to select both of those. We're going to align them center. Okay, so it's perfectly centered. We're going to hit later on that. We don't need that. I think I might go down just a smidgen. And then we're just going to make sure they're aligned. We're going to align them center again. Now, what you're going to do, okay, you could do it on both sides. You could do the name on one side, Roman numerals on the other. That way somebody can flip and flop back and forth. You can do that. That is a great idea, Jill. Thank you for that. But the next thing you're going to do, I'm going to hide this one because we're fixing to go to make it, y'all.
Woohoo.
This is going to be important when it comes to lining up your bar. We're going to select both of these. We need this to stay a basic cut because that way we can move it around on our mat. We are going to attach those together, okay? So if you're taking notes, remember we're going to attach our engraved portion and our basic cut together, okay? One other thing you need to do that I forgot to tell you guys, we're gonna come up here to our operations. We're gonna go from basic cut to engrave. Do not forget that. Your text needs to go from operation, from basic cut, down here to engrave.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
Are y'all with me? Is anybody behind? Do I need to go over anything? Drop me a question. Debbie says it's too fast for me. Okay.
So let's just recap real quick. So you have your basic shape behind, and that right there is going to represent your actual blank. Am I correct?
Yes. So
now, with this, let's not worry about building it. Let's just look at it. Everyone, let's look at it and work through it. We have just added in our text, which is the Roman numeral dates, which is beautiful. I love the look of this. The hack Lauren did with the dots. I mean, it looks so good. Now, here's my question, Lauren, and maybe people at home are going to ask the same thing.
Okay.
Are we going to actually cut the shape?
That is a great question.
Or are we going to just never do that part of the cut?
We're never going to do that part of the cut. That way we can use our basic shape because your engraved portion is going to come before the basic cut. So what we're doing is we're never going to actually cut anything. We're just using that shape so we know we are lining it up properly on our mat.
Yes.
Because we are working with such a small piece of metal.
Yes.
It's tiny. So you have to be precise on where you line it up on your mat.
Now, y'all, for us that are here, and you may be saying, Tanner, I've never used my engraving tool yet. This is a great project to get started. It's cost effective. The links down below have everything you need. You're going to be blown away. So if you're overwhelmed, you'll be able to rewatch, but this is not too difficult, and I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Okay, so recap really quick, because I did have our shape of our thing as a guide for a while. You're going to want to make sure that it is a basic cut, okay?
Okay.
It is going to be behind your text.
Right.
Okay.
Important.
You're going to put your text in. You're going to line it up, okay? you're gonna go up to operations. So let's go to our share screen. You're gonna make sure you go up to operations. For your text, you're gonna make sure that it is on engrave. It's gonna automatically go to basic. So you're gonna make sure it's on engrave. So once you have your basic cut rectangle, your engrave letters or Roman numerals, you have selected both of them and attached them together. We good? Now we're ready to make it. From here, we're gonna go to make it.
Yay.
Now, once again, y'all, this is tiny. This is tiny. So we're gonna zoom in on our mat.
This
We're
part,
at 200%.
If I had to be honest with you, Lauren, this is the part that stresses me out.
Listen, it stresses me out too, because even, and I'll show you guys, you can see on this mat where I got it off a little bit myself. So
Okay.
I'm taking the tape off right now, but then I will show you guys which this tape on this strong grip mat. So let's look at this mat. You're gonna have some mishaps.
Okay.
You can see on this mat where I didn't line it up properly. So please do not get discouraged if the first thing that you do, it's not lined up properly. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Heck
Okay?
yeah.
So just make sure not to get discouraged. It's okay. We're going to get there. So back to our share screen. You're going to decide where you want to line this up. You don't want to line it up here in the corner. My suggestion, pick the corner of a box.
So go like 2 in.
Three on your, this is your X axis, or X and Y. I can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway, so let's say we're going 3 inches down and then 2 inches across. We're just gonna zoom on in here. Remember, y'all, we're at 250% on our mat right now, okay?
This is how detailed the Cricut can do. I mean, oh my gosh.
And we are lining that up right there in that corner, 3 and 2, okay? So where do you think we're gonna line up our necklace? We're gonna come over here to our little strong grip mat. Are we in here? And we're gonna take our bar necklace. Now you may want to wipe it off. These do get fingerprints on them pretty easy. And we're gonna take that corner and we're gonna corner that up there against that 2 and right there on the 3. Okay? So we're gonna scoot it on over, and this is a good, if you need to use your needle nose pliers, you can, to move it down or across, whichever way. And then once you have that there, you're just gonna take that and you're just gonna press it down onto your mat, okay? Now, to make sure that that bar does not go anywhere, we're gonna take our masking tape. Obviously, y'all need to get my nails cut down.
Wait, that's the first time Lauren's ever said that. I'm glad we're recording.
And we're gonna take our masking tape and we're just gonna tape the edges right here, right there over that little hole, and then we're gonna take some more on the other side. And we're just gonna make sure that this gets taped down.
Love it.
Okay. Now we are ready to go. So now we're gonna go to continue. And you can see here that it's gonna have engrave first before basic cut. So we're not even gonna get to the basic cut portion. It's just gonna engrave and then we're gonna unload our mat and be done. We just needed that basic cut so we know that we're lined up properly. So we're gonna go to Browse All Material. We are going to select metal, the 40 gauge thin copper. This works just fine. You don't have to do the metal, works. And then we're going to select Done. I want to put this on more pressure, okay? And then we are going to come over here to our Cricut.
So Debbie, you have to be mindful about how thick you make how thick of a bar you get. This one's actually surprisingly thick. I would say it's not too thin.
It's not, it doesn't bend very well. So
Yeah,
let's,
that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
address. Like, this isn't really a bendable, you know, it's
No.
really solid. You do just want to get thin enough so that it can fit, you know, in the Cricut.
Right.
Because of the bar.
yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here to our Cricut. I'm actually gonna make sure my star wheels are moved out of the way. You can see I don't have to have a lot of room, just enough room to where our star wheels are not gonna go over that. I have loaded in our engraving tip, our adaptive tool with our great engraving tip on it. I'm gonna load this into our Cricut. Nope, I'm gonna unload here in just a minute because that didn't load right. You're gonna definitely wanna make sure that it loads properly.
Yes.
Loading that into our Cricut. What it's going to do now, I'm going to press this, but it's going to pull our housing all the way over here, and it's going to make sure that we have the right adaptive tool in here.
I love that. And it really just does a little extra checking to make sure that we're all good.
So somebody asked, can you also put animals or insects as well, or other images on the bar? Y'all, this bar is so small.
If you
I don't
do
even know that it
larger, you know, if you do something larger, you know, like a 2 or 3 inch wide bracelet, that would be a great thing to do an image or something on. But with small stuff like this, y'all, simple outlines will
Yes.
get you the best result.
Yes, or if you did, there are like discs that you can purchase.
Yes.
And we do have monoline SVG images that you can use on those. And what it does is just the single line again would work great. And this is always the tricky part because I didn't watch it. You're not gonna hit this flashing Cricut icon again. We're just gonna unload it.
Love it.
Oh, there we go. Y'all see that?
Woohoo.
Look.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And that's another thing. It may be, technically speaking, this one is a little more to the right than I would want it to be.
Okay.
But it still works. Like it's not,
Right.
it doesn't look bad.
Right.
Like it's not perfectly centered on the bar. But that's just because I didn't, like I thought I had my bar in place perfectly. Maybe I didn't. But look how pretty.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
I'm obsessed.
Woohoo.
So now,
This is where it gets good. And we had a question from Lindsay. She asked, for the items linked down below, does the bar necklace and the chain, like, are they complementary?
do they come
Color.
together?
No. Do they complement each other? Like, if they order the two you linked, are they the right colors? Would they go together?
That I don't want. So if you're going with silver, silver is a pretty even color. Like you're not going to get discrepancies with silver. If you're looking at rose gold or gold, I think they were the same manufacturer is why I linked them both, but they are not. I know that the ones that I linked, the bars are the ones we for sure ordered, but the chain, we already had chain in our,
Yes.
we already had some chain. This chain came from Hobby Lobby. So I'm not going to tell you yes
Okay.
because I don't want to be wrong. I hate being wrong.
Kirsten, you
Not
are
gonna
going
be
to
wrong.
love the maker.
Yeah. So we've already got this one. As you can tell, y'all, I cut this one. Let's go to one. I cut this chain way long.
Yeah, it could be really low.
Way long. So let's do some math. We're going to math today.
Lauren's go math today. Tanner's go be right here.
So this is just for you guys to really fully understand and comprehend like how long you need to cut your chain for each side. So we said that our bar, what was our bar? 1 and this says like close to 1.5. So you have to take 1.5 inch, take into consideration 1.5 inch for your bar. So if you wanted to do an 18-inch necklace,
Yeah.
and what you would do is you would take 18. What's half of 18? 9.
There you go.
So you're going to have 9 inches on each side. You can do give or take a little bit because you do have 1.5 inches for your bar to take into consideration. So what I did not do that you all need to do is, first of all, ask your customer if you're making this for somebody, if you're making it for a present. Ask them what what length they like with necklaces. Some people like shorter necklaces. Some people like longer necklaces. I'm more of a midway. I like about a 16-inch necklace personally.
Love it.
But what you're going to do, so we'll go back overhead. You're going to take your measuring tape and you are going to measure 9 inches on this side. So it's going to be about right here. I'm going to do a little more, a couple extra lengths just to be on the safe side to give me a little more wiggle room. So you're going to cut that, and then what you would do to keep it even, now that you've measured that, you're going to roll out the rest of your chain, and we're going to line it up as well. And then we're going to come back in with our wire cutters, and we're going to cut it at the same length. And the reason you want to cut it at the same length is because this type of necklace is not one that you can like move around. For example, let's go to one. Like I have a pendant necklace and I can move it around. This necklace needs to stay even on both sides. Otherwise your clasp is going to be on like one side of your neck or the other, and it's not going to be directly in the middle on the back. Okay? So now that we have both of our 9-inch pieces on either side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a couple of my...
Look at Lauren go, y'all. Lauren is teaching, and then Laura says, Lauren, your instructions are amazing. I believe I can do this if I get a maker for Christmas.
Y'all, you can definitely do this.
Yes.
You can do this. So what I'm doing now is I like to use 2 pair of needle nose pliers just so I can kind of have more control. You're just going to open up that ring, and you can open it up. I would suggest, instead of pulling it apart, I would suggest taking it and then going in opposite directions. Ooh. So it opens up like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my bar. I'm going to place it in the hole right there. Take my needle nose pliers. Remember, this needs to stay on the front. So now I'm going to grab this side of my chain, and I have a piece of chain right here I've cut off, so we need to get rid of it. And then I'm just going to hook it right here, and then I'm going to come back in. And the reason we didn't pull it apart, because if you pull it apart this way, you're going to have a hard time getting it to go back together. But when you separate it going front to back, you can just come back in here, and let's say I'm going to hold this with these. I'm just going to take these needle nose pliers. Now this is the tricky part, I will say that.
Ooh.
And we're just going to close this back together.
Love it.
In just a minute. Maybe. Let's change pliers. Let's do these. These have a flatter edge. So this one may take some time to figure out.
This is fun though. Like, people love jewelry making, and it's something permanent, and it's so neat.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to come back in here with this flat part of these jewelry pliers right here. And I'm just going to clamp that back down.
Love it.
And then you can also bring them together just a little bit. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy smancy.
Christina says, note to self, have a stand-up magnifying glass to make jewelry. Yes.
Yep, for sure. But what I was going to say, if you really want to get fancy.
I like fancy.
They sell those little soldering,
whoa.
like the little soldering kits.
Yeah.
Where you could solder this jump ring together.
Like shut, right?
Yes.
Wow.
That way you don't run a risk of it coming apart.
I love that.
So once you have that, we're going to do the same thing on the other side.
Woohoo.
So we're just going to grab our ring, find the edge, take our pliers, go front to back with opening.
Wow.
What's everybody saying?
Oh my gosh, we are just soaking it all in. I mean, people are mainly talking about like how great your training is, so they're loving that. What price point would you go in for making and selling these? So this is another project that, you know, may be really inexpensive for you to manufacture, but you want to take on the risk to, you know, may have to redo it. You want to take on the time commitment. So I would say at minimum, this could be like a $15 to $20 project because you're doing that customization. And again, you're taking on the risk of having to make it multiple times and things like that. Because Lauren said, it's not always going to be perfect. Like your first time and it's off center, that may happen. You know, we've made multiple of these and it still can continue to happen at times. So that is a great question.
I would definitely not sell it for $15.
Right.
I would sell it for more.
Oh, well, see, there you go. So, I mean, at minimum, you know, you could go up. This would be such a great one to definitely dive into jewelry making. If you're newer to jewelry making, you've never done any, but you love your Cricut, this is a great project to add and maybe start doing them as gifts this year. And at the first of the year, start selling them and add it to your shop.
Okay, that one really upset me. It was not doing what I wanted it to do.
That's okay.
So, you know what? We may finish that one here in a minute.
Love it.
Let's talk about the lobster clasps.
Okay, lobster clasp.
Because what you're going to do after you get that attached is you are going to want to purchase. Daggone it.
Your mic
keeps
fell
falling off.
Oh no.
Let's try it again. Okay. You're going to want to grab some lobster clasps.
Okay.
I think lobster clasps are my favorite.
I love
That's
it.
a very hard word to say. Say clasps three times.
Clasp.
Yeah. Say it 3 times fast. Whew. That's what I thought, buddy.
I need like a good deep breath in between each one.
So what you're gonna do, you can see here, this is the end, and this is your lobster clasp. Now, if you don't want this end, if you don't want like the adjustable, because as you can see, this chain that we have here could be its own adjustable chain.
Right.
Like you don't have to have this on the end of it. We're actually gonna cut some off of this and then we'll attach it. But what I'm saying is I would not purchase the adjustable.
Yes.
I would just go ahead and let this be its own adjustable thing. So what we're gonna do is we are going to come in here. Once again, we're gonna grab one of these rings. Now these come in a kit.
Yeah, these would be great Valentine's Day gifts. I've seen multiple. Joanne and Lindsay both were like, wait, great Valentine's Day? Yes, great Valentine's Day. You could also there's still time to do this for Christmas. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
a lot of this stuff I looked on Amazon, it's like, hey, it'll be here way before Christmas. So you can take advantage of that. And
Okay, last part.
Ooh!
Last part. Now there's a couple ways that you can attach. So we've got our lobster clasp on one side.
Right.
You can add another jump ring on the other side. This specific kit came with, and I'll hold it up so you guys can see it. It came with these little guys that's got like a little hook on the end. I don't know if you can see it. But what we're gonna do, we've got it in our jewelry pliers. There is a flat end on it. So what you're gonna do for that, I have taken it, I'm holding it with the flat end right here, okay?
Okay.
Holding it with the flat end, making sure it's down in there really good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my necklace, I'm gonna put it down in there, and then what you do is you squeeze that until it's all the way around your necklace.
Wow. Woo!
Oh, I squeezed a little too hard.
Lauren, squeeze too hard.
I squeezed a little too hard. You know what?
But
It
hey,
might
there's
just be.
room for improvement. I mean, there's room if you made a mistake on
There
that,
we go.
which is
Yeah.
so good.
You know what might be easier? Just using another jump ring.
Yes.
We're just gonna do this,
Heck yeah, we are.
and then we're just gonna add this to the end of our necklace.
You
you
did
go.
it! Yay!
It's
Oh my
done.
goodness, I love it. But yes, Glenn.
Really quickly, someone asked, would you use anything to make the letters and numbers darker on the metal? So there is a like a pen that you can get to darken that
Yes.
the engraving with. I tried it. It didn't make that big of a difference.
Because it's not the same as a lot of you may be thinking you could darken it like metal stamping. I will say metal stamping goes a lot deeper because there's a heck of a lot more pressure than what the Cricut's doing.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that, you know, it's subtle, but you can still see it when you look at it. Like, it's not that subtle. It's harder, I think, for you guys to see it because of the cameras and the lights and everything else.
It's really hard. So our camera is really far away, and we can't manually like zoom in or anything on it. Like, it's very stationary.
But like sitting right here looking at it,
you can read it totally
you
fine.
have no problem.
I would like to find a way, and I don't know if the Cricut could do this. Again, there comes a time when we want the Cricut to do things the Glowforge only can do, and engraving like really thick.
Well, let me
lines.
just go ahead and say I tried to do layers. So I tried to take the, let's say, Carson and Braden or the Sadie and Shane or whatever you're putting on there. What I did at first was I took that, I duplicated it 3 times.
Okay.
Layered it on top of each other so that the Cricut would engrave it 3 times over, and it didn't even make that big of a difference.
And
it didn't change anything.
Sometimes it won't, so you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It actually kind of made it a little rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
Rather than just doing one swap.
Yeah. So metal stamping is a little bit different than using the engraving tool on Cricut. Cricut's very different than a $8,000-$9,000 Glowforge. Very different environment for each of these. So. Yes, oh my goodness. You guys are awesome. We love it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Maker's Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name's Alicia, and today I'm gonna show you all how to engrave on an acrylic keychain. If you're interested in seeing more crafts, make sure to subscribe and to hit that post bell notification for weekly crafts with us. So this is what we're going to be creating today. I'm going to show you all how to add the tassels as well as do the engraving using our Cricut Maker 3. Okay, to complete this project, you're going to need a few different things. So the first thing that we're going to need are clear acrylic key tags. So these are off of Amazon. You could probably find these at local craft stores as well. But we like these because they already have the keychain hole cut out. So it just makes it a little bit easier whenever we do the engrave. We don't have to worry about doing all that. It's already ready to go. You are going to need a weeding tool. You're going to need masking tape. You're going to need, you don't need these tassels, but this is going to give this look right here that we've made with our craft. You'll also need key rings, a needle nose plier set, as well as a strong grip Cricut mat. So we're going to actually be taping our keychain, our acrylic down to this Cricut. The strong grip is going to help as well as the tape because we really do not want it to move whenever we start the engraving process. Now let's jump over to our design space. So we are going to start by pulling all of our files off of the Maker's Gonna Learn website. I already have our script pulled up right here. You can use any of our font files. We have hundreds to choose from, but I really like this retro font. So we're going to go ahead and click this little cloud with the arrow, and that is going to download our font into a zip file. So go ahead and click on that zip file, and then you're going to find it in your downloads. If you lose it, usually you can come over here and select downloads, and then you can find it in your file somewhere. You can search up here if you really can't find it. So we're going to click that, and we are going to install the font. And now we're going to go back and find our image files. So that's going to be up here at the top of makersgonnalearn.com. You're going to select cut files. And we're going to need 2 files for today's project. So I'm going to go in and find our rainbow, which is the image that we're using on our keychain. So I'm just going to search rainbow, and you're going to see multiple rainbow images. I like to find something with clean cut lines. It's going to engrave a lot easier. If you're doing something with a whole lot of detail, it's going to take a lot longer, and you may not be able to see the details as well. So we're going to go ahead and download this. This one doesn't download as a flesh tone rainbow. It actually downloads as curves, But so just remember that if you're having to look for the file, it's going to be downloaded under curves. Okay, so after you've found your rainbow image or whatever image that you choose, we love for you to find your own images and explore your creativity. That is always fun too. But I'm gonna start type in lines. This is going to help us with our engraving process. You cannot complete this project without this file. This is on the Makers Gonna Learn website. So right here, this very first one, this is what we need. It looks like a block of just blackness, but it is multiple tiny, tiny lines all lined up together. So we downloaded that. It's in our downloads right here. And now we're gonna hop on over to Design Space and we're gonna start putting together our file. Okay. Now that we're in Design Space, I'm gonna go ahead and pop on over to our Shapes tab. And since we're doing a circle keychain, I'm gonna select a circle. And there it is. So usually if you're gonna resize something, we'll recommend that you hit this little lock pad here. For this circumstance, we're not going to because I want everything to stay proportional. And we're actually already at the right dimensions. So we're already at 2 by 2. That's the size of our keychain. And actually, just to be sure, you can double check by measuring your circle. And I feel like our circles were just right under 2 inches. So I'm gonna make these 1.75. That way it's a little bit more accurate. And whenever we cut it, it's gonna be really centered. So there's that. I'm gonna change the color to white. And the operation is gonna be pin. The reason we do this is because when you go to engrave, if you still got engrave for the circle, it's going to try to engrave the circle. So we don't want to do that. We just need the Cricut to know that there's a shape there, and we only want it to engrave the graphic and the text. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my images in. We've got 2 that we need to pull in. So we're going to go down here to Uploads, and we already have them pulled into Design Space. So I'm going to select the rainbow and I'm going to select our lines, and you go ahead and add to canvas, and you're going to have to resize them. So I'm going to like click off of them, and I'm going to resize this to let's just do 2 by 2 just to shrink it down. And actually when you hit 2, if it's still locked, it's going to resize it proportionally, so that's great. So just put 2 in your width. And then here we're going to, let's make this like a 5 by 5 square. You may run into issues with having gaps in the lines, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. But make this a 5 by 5 square, and that's gonna help you a lot. That's like the key to making sure that we get this fully engraved and that it looks like a solid color. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my text. We'll just gather all the things that we need. And I'm gonna change this font to Annie Carroll. And that's the font that we downloaded earlier, Carroll. If you download your font and you're unable to actually find it in your Design Space, you can also save your project. So you can come up here and save your project and then click View and Reload, and it'll like reset your Design Space. That way the fonts that you downloaded actually come into the program. Sometimes if you download a new font, it won't show up until you do that. So now that we've got all of our ingredients, I'm gonna go ahead and select my text, and then I am going to weld it, okay? And then you're gonna do the same thing with your rainbow image. We're gonna select it, and then you're gonna come down here and you're gonna hit weld. You need to do them separately. That is important. Once you have your images welded, you are going to move your images to the front. This needs to be at the back. These need to be at the front. So we're gonna go ahead and I wanna make sure that they're aligned to the front. They are. And then I'm gonna pull over my text. So I'm gonna just drag it over here. And then you're going to select the text as well as that background, and you can just hold down the shift key and select that, and that grabs both of those images. And then we're going to come down here and select slice. So it doesn't really look like we did anything. I'm going to pull this over, and then you can click and drag again, and you're going to have another image. And I think there's only 3. So you'll have 3, and then you'll have these little scragglers right here. We just want to select our best image, which is this one. Actually, I'm going to select this one. And then we can go ahead and delete everything that we don't need. So go ahead and delete all that. And then you can either reuse the original line image that we had, or you can pull it back in. Since I deleted mine, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it back in. And we're going to resize it down to 5 by 5 like we did before. So just hit 5, and then it'll automatically select 5 over there. And then we are going to pull our rainbow on top, and it is not on top. So we need to make sure we go up here to arrange and bring to front. Okay. And then you're going to hold in the shift key, select that background image that selects both images right there. And then you're going to come down here to slice. And we're going to just get rid of all the parts we don't need. So we're going to take this darker image and use that. And I'm going to select these and delete them because we're not going to be using them at all. And then what I'm going to do is put these 2 images right beside each other and try to get my proportions right. So I'm going to size this down a little bit. And this just takes, it can be a little bit finicky. So you just have to play around with it. I'm going to select both of them. And I am going to center them with each other. So you're going to go align and center horizontally, and that's going to get them perfectly in line with each other. And now we just need it to fit into our circle. So I'm going to pull it over here. You can manually resize this. Just make sure you're allowing yourself enough room for the keychain hole at the top. That was my first mistake when I first made these. So make sure you're allowing enough area up here at the top so that you can actually put the key ring in. So this is going to be our design. That's all that we need to do here. So once you've pulled your images into the circle, we're going to go ahead and select the rainbow and the text and come up here to the top, and it says operation. Earlier we selected pin for our circle, but since we're going to be engraving this, I want you all to select the drop down menu and just go all the way down here to engrave. And it's important that if you have multiple Cricut machines and you're using them interchangeably, this needs to say Maker 3. If it doesn't say Maker 3, you're not going to have an engrave option. It's just not going to pop up for you because the Maker 3 is the machine that will engrave. So Maker 3, select engrave, and then we're going to select the entire thing, the circle, the rainbow, and the text, and we're going to attach it. So from there, you're going to come up here to make it. And then since we're engraving on the back of our keychain, we're going to need to mirror the image. So it's going to engrave backwards, and then that way it looks really nice and finished on the front of the keychain once we're done. And we also are going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this down. I just want to have enough seam allowance on with this engrave tool. I want to have enough room to engrave. So we're going to put it with a 1-inch seam around the edges. So after you have moved your image down and given yourself a 1-inch seam around the edges, we're going to select continue, and then we're going to select the machine that we would like to use, and we're going to go to Maker 3 USB. And then this is important as well. So we're going to go ahead and select browse all materials. We're using 2mm acrylic. So the option that we're going to select here is the tooling leather with a 2.4 millimeters. That is the one that we want, and we're going to select done. I always select yes. It says knife blade calibration is recommended. Do you want to calibrate that? Yes, I always select that. And then sometimes you'll need to cancel the cut after you select that and come back in, and then I'll just show you guys. So after you select it, hit cancel, hit yes, And then you're just gonna go back in and do the same thing. I don't know why it wants you to do that, but it did it to me every time. Just reselected the maker I'm gonna use. You can select the tooling leather, 2.4 millimeters. And then this time I'm just gonna hit no, because we already did it. And now I'm gonna load my Cricut mat. Okay, so before we actually cut, we're gonna need to tape our piece of acrylic down to our strong grip Cricut mat. One important thing to note, if you are using acrylic, they typically have a piece of clear film on the front. So if it looks a little foggy, you probably still have your film on there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. And then I'm gonna keep that shiny side up. So we're going to line this up. Remember, we need a 1-inch allowance all the way around. And we're gonna line our hole to this line, this center line, okay? And it should fit perfectly in those 4 squares since we're doing a 2-inch circle. And then after you have set it on your mat, we're gonna take masking tape and we're gonna tape it all the way around. That way, whenever we do go to engrave, it's not moving around at all. If it moves around, it's not gonna engrave where we want it to. And that is very important because it's not gonna look good if it's off center. Make sure that you are taping very close to the edge. If you don't tape close to the edge, you may risk accidentally engraving on the tape, which we don't want. So make sure you're getting really close to the edge. I'm gonna actually tape those corners down as well, just to be safe. It's better safe than sorry. And we're just staying really, really close to the edge. My font actually goes out very close to this bottom edge, so I'm gonna leave those open just so I don't risk accidentally engraving on the tape. Okay, and now we're gonna pop on over to our Cricut machine and we're gonna put this in the machine. Now that you've got your strong grip mat into your Cricut, want to make sure that you have your engrave tool in here. That tool, I'll pull it out for you guys just so you can kind of see what it looks like. It has a really sharp knife, and actually where I was engraving earlier, it's kind of dusty. So you can see it's a very sharp pointy tip, and we're just going to put that in there. Okay. And your Cricut's going to want you to put in a black pen because we use the pen tool for our circle, but we're not going to be using that. So don't even worry about that. It's just going to skip over that step entirely. So once you've got your engrave in there, we are going to go ahead and load our Cricut mat. Okay. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and select go, and it's going to start the engrave. So this is our finished product, super cute. You can see how it looks more finished on the front as opposed to the back. So this is the side that we actually cut. So it's gonna have like more of a rough texture. And then on the front, it's gonna be super polished and clean. So we really like how that turned out. And I'm gonna show you all how to attach the keychain as well as the little tassels. Okay. So after it's cut, I am going to attach this keychain. So you're going to need needle nose pliers, you're going to need a little keychain, and mine actually came with this little chain already attached. So I'm just going to take that last link on the chain, and I'm actually going to attach one of these little guys to the bottom. So you can put it through the hole of your keychain, and it's going to look like that, so it's open. And then I'm going to just pull that right through there, and then we're going to clamp it shut with our pliers. And you can leave it like this if you want to. It's still really cute without the tassels. So if you already have these supplies on hand and you know just want to leave it how it is, then you can. But I'm just gonna clamp that together. That way it doesn't fall apart. So you can leave it just like this if you want to. If you want to add a little razzle dazzle, you can pick out some tassels. And these are super easy to put on too. They're like little hoops. And I'm just gonna kind of open these hoops up with my pliers. Let's see. So I'm just opening it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna add it to one of the links on our chain, and I'm gonna pinch it back together. And this hoop is a little bit smaller, so it's kind of hard to pinch it together. It's harder than the other ones because it's small. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with this green one. I love this color, it's so pretty. And these colors together are really cute. But you can do any color combination. You can do just one little tassel. I feel like it's cute with just one little tassel. But if you want to do a second one, just go ahead and move up to the, go ahead and move up to the next link. And you're just going to attach it the same way. And so you'll get something that looks like this, okay? And it'll already be attached to the ruby. So very cute. Lots of different color combinations that you can choose from. But yeah. Okay, so that is all for today. I enjoyed this craft with you all. If you are interested in seeing more crafts like this, make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel. We would love to see you back. Have a good day.
Hey everyone, Tanner Bell here, and welcome back to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel. In today's DIY tutorial, I'm going to teach you step by step exactly how to engrave on metal. Today we're actually bringing together an amazing Father's Day DIY gift idea for you in this tutorial. Now what I want to let you guys know right out of the gate, for this project, you're actually going to need a Cricut Maker. So whether you have a Cricut Maker or a Cricut Maker 3, you will be able to make this project. You'll also need an engraving tool. So this is one of the adaptive tools from Cricut, and you actually can see here that it's part of their snap and release method. So I'm able to snap this on and snap it off really easily. I'm going to teach you exactly how to etch or engrave a actual spatula. It's going to be really awesome, and I think you're going to find this really handy to do some really unique gift ideas that you may have never thought about. If you're excited for this video, go ahead and give me a like. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more DIY videos, and I cannot wait to go ahead and share with you everything you need for this project. Okay, first things first, for supplies, let's touch on the actual engraving. So what you'll need is the engraving tool from Cricut. That is very important for this project. Next, we are actually using a Dollar Tree spatula. It's going to give us a perfect size to be able to do our project onto. We're needing a strong grip mat today. You're going to also need painter's tape to do all of your engraving. To finish the project and have an adorable little gift like this right here, I'm going to share with you what supplies you will need. You will need an oven mitten. We also picked this up from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need a pack of cellophane bags. You're going to need some type of seasonings. This is what we're giving, the Memphis style BB&Q, awesome. And then we're also using white, black, and red heat transfer vinyl for today's DIY gift idea. The supplies is fairly minimal to do such a unique project, so I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how easy this project can come together and how impressed you will be with the results. If you're excited, let's go ahead and jump right over to Cricut Design Space. All right, my friends, here is the cut file from makersgonnalearn.com that we'll be featuring today in our project. It's actually a King of the Grill cut file where you get the typography and you get a little image. What we're going to do after you're a Makers Gonna Learn member, you have unlimited downloads of cut files. So I'll have more information on how you can become a member too down below. But what you would need to do is just press the download button. So you can press the cloud, or you can press the grab this cut file, download now, and you'll see it's in a zip file. We will double click 1, 2, and you'll see here is the folder. Once you open this folder right here, you're going to see at Makers Gonna Learn, we provide a PNG and an SVG option. Hold tight and open Cricut Design Space. And then let's go over to the upload area. Once you're at the upload area, you simply want to click upload image. Once you're at the drag and drop file, you can go back to your folder and then drag and drop any cut file of your choice onto Cricut Design Space. Once it's uploaded, you can go ahead and click upload. Now that it's in Cricut Design Space, you can select it and press add to canvas. That is how easy it is, my friend, to take any Makers Gonna Learn cut file and put it right into Cricut Design Space really easily. Now that you have it right here in Design Space, we're going to go through 2 simple steps to get it to look like the one to our left. The one to our left is completely finished and ready to go, but I want to teach you how you can get yours to look that way in 2 easy steps. What we need to do is we need to hide the blue layer. So that's our additional image we're not featuring today. So the grill is now gone. I was able to press the hide icon from the layers panel to hide that layer. Now, what our Cricut thinks we want to do with the image to our right is that they want us to do a basic cut function. If you go to Operation at the top left-hand bar, where my cursor is, you can select it, and we are going to go down to Engrave. Look what happens when we press Engrave. Boom. Love it. There you have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to size this down to 2 inches. Now what we're going to do is we're going to unlock this and we're going to size it down to 2 by 2.5 and press enter. Once it is resized, you can lock it back. Now the next step is to be able to prepare it to engrave. When we're engraving, we actually want it to engrave through 3 times. So what we need to do is duplicate this image right here 3 times. Let's go ahead and press duplicate 2 additional times. So duplicate once, duplicate for the 3rd time. Now you're like, Tanner, this looks so overwhelming. What is going to happen? Have no fear. With 2 simple buttons, we'll get you taken care of. We're going to select all 3 of these layers. You can see they're all 3 selected and grayed out on the right-hand sidebar in the layers panel. Once you see that, you want to go to Align, where my cursor is in the top right-hand bar, and press Align. Once you're there, you're going to go down to Align Center. And when you press Align Center, you will see they all come together. Now, not so fast. We have one last step before we're ready to move forward. We actually need to tell Cricut that all of these layers are actually going to stay right where they're at on the canvas. So to do so, while they're still all selected, go down to the bottom of your layers panel, and we are going to press attach. Okay? Once you press attach, now all your layers are going to stay together just like on the canvas. So now we have 2, so I'm just going to delete 1, and there you have it, my friends. We are ready to move forward with this part of the project. So let's go ahead and click Make It. Once we're down here, we're going to bring it down to the 5-inch mark, and I'm going to align it between the 5-inch and the 7-inch mark. Once it's aligned right here, what we're going to do is we're going to hold shift and we're actually needing to rotate our image. And you'll see why here in a moment when we are able to tape down our spatula onto our mat. Now you have it. It's aligned between the 5-inch and the 7-inch marker, and it's rotated. So now we can go ahead and move forward. So now that we're at the area where we've already connected to our machine, what I love about Cricut is that it's actually telling us, hey Tanner, you're actually engraving today, so these materials will not work. So if you click Browse All Materials, what we're going to search for is stainless, and you'll see stainless steel. So let's select that as our material setting and press done. Now we're ready to load our engraving tool in, but before we do that, my friend, what we're going to do is actually prepare our spatula on our strong grip mat. So let's go over and take a look at that. All right, my friends, so what I've went ahead and done is I've placed my spatula just right here on the edge of the mat. So where it starts to kind of edge up, I have been able to line this up. And then what I love about our spatula today is it's just a little bit wider than 2 inches. So you have a little excess on each side, which is perfect today. And let me explain why. What's going to happen here is we're going to now add in our painter's tape. And our painter's tape, when you add this in right like so, you're going to see is going to allow you some additional support that is going to be very handy for today's project. So now you can just add this in and it's supporting your spatula. And then now we'll add this piece over here. And now we'll be able to put our blade in and be ready to load this into our machine. So really guys, it's not too hard. Just take a look right here. We've been able to tape down our spatula. What I'm going to do is kind of hold it during the process to make sure, you know, the mat's not pulling it or nothing's wrong. This is definitely something you're going to want to definitely monitor the process. You know what I mean? So now that we have this, let's go ahead and load our blade into our machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this into clamp B, and then once it's in clamp B, we can close it. So it's locked into clamp B. I want you all to notice we've moved the rollers. You do not need rollers to be in the middle of your project, so you can have some really good space. So now all we need to do is go ahead and we're actually going to load in our mat. It's going to measure. And then after it's measured, we are going to be able to, again, we're just going to support our spatula. And I'm put a masking tape right down here to kind of help support it. And now we can press the flashing play button. So it's going to check and make sure we have the correct blade in, which I love that. And now it's going to start the process. All right, so it's done cutting, so let's go ahead and unload this right here. And now we can go to the overhead camera and take a look at how amazing this turned out, guys. Look at this. So what we did was where we attached those 3 layers, you're going to see that you can really read this pretty well. Let's make sure you all can kind of see this. And look at that, yay, oh my goodness. So all we need to do now is remove this out of the tape. So we can just remove this. And that is really how easy it is to etch your stainless steel spatula. And this is a great way to personalize something from the dollar store. We love this technique and we will be using it in other projects as well. So this is how awesome it is to be able to do this. And now we'll be able to move on and start cutting out our heat transfer vinyl for the rest of our gift idea. All right, my friends, we're using 3 different cut files today in the iron-on part of this project. We just searched grill on Maker's Gonna Learn, and we found 3 different amazing cut files that we have been able to build this design from. So after we built it, we just sized it to, I believe we have this at we need to go ahead and size this at 4.5 by 5. So now that this is sized right here at 4.5 by 5, you can see that what we're going to now be able to do is have this all ready to go, cut out, and apply onto our project. So my little tip here today is this would take 3 different mats if we were going to cut this as Cricut would set it up. Today, I want to be able to cut all 3 of these layers on one mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Color Sync, and I'm just going to sync all my colors to the same color, just like so. Now, what we're going to be able to do is press Make It, and we're going to cut on the mat and press Continue. Now that we're here, we are going to mirror our project because we're using iron-on today. And now we can go ahead and move our spatula to the bottom left-hand corner. We can move our red right over here and our little grill to the bottom right corner. It's mirrored, it's all ready to go. And now let me share with you my mat to prepare this. But before I do, let's press Continue and let's connect to our Cricut. We are going to select Everyday Iron-On, and now we'll be able to load it into our machine. So as you can see here, I was able to use 3 different sheets of scrap pieces of iron-on, or heat transfer vinyl for short, HTV, and place this. The red, the white, and the black. Now with any heat transfer vinyl, you always need to put it shiny side down. If you've not watched any of my videos using heat transfer vinyl, be sure to check that out because you'll be able to learn so much about this process. But now that it's good to go, we can go ahead and load this in to our machine, and then we'll be able to trade out these blades. It's measuring our mat just real fast. And now what we'll do is we'll open clamp B. We'll take out that blade we were just using, and we will place back in our amazing fine point blade. Now that it's good to go, we can press the flashing play button. All right, my friends, it's been able to cut out. So what we're going to do is unload our mat, and now we'll be able to take this, and I love to use a true control knife to just cut off any excess. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to cut this off right here, and then we'll be able to save this piece for another project. And then you can come down here and save this piece for another project. And then you'll find your little spatula, cut this right here, and save this as well. So now you'll grab your weeding tool, and what we're going to do is I love to start with the outer edge pieces. So I always start going from the outer edge, and now that we have the outer edge, what you're going to do is be able to go around and just weed away. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just weed all 3 of my layers. All right, my friends, what we're going to do first is we're going to take our largest layer and place it down. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and briefly take a look at how these are going to fit. And now we know that our little grill needs to be put down first. So now we'll peel those 2 layers up, and we'll be able to grab our mini easy press. Now that we've grabbed our mini easy press, we're just going to heat this down for about 20 seconds or so, and just make sure that this is down. Now, the best part about using heat transfer vinyl is you can actually see when it's activated, because you're going to see that it's got bubbles, and look at that flawless result. So now we'll be able to go in with our largest layer and place this down right here, and then grab your mini easy press again and start applying this down as well. And notice how our transfer sheet is protecting our grill, which I appreciate. And now we can peel this up. And last but not least, we will put down our little spatula, just like so. And we'll be able to heat activate this as well. And once this is heated down, you can now peel this back, and you'll see you have been able to take care of all of your heat transfer vinyl. Now, the last step for this project is you're actually going to create a little baggie with your seasoning. So you would take your seasoning and you would put it in a cellophane bag, and then we just use some ribbon to tie a little knot together, and now this will fit perfectly into your oven mitt. So now, as you see here, what we're going to do is we are going to take our spatula and we're going to place it right down here inside our oven mitt. And then you can place right here your seasoning, and you are all good to go. So just like so, you have finished your amazing DIY gift idea with Cricut to make this adorable engraved spatula. How amazing was this? All right, my friends, what did you think of this amazing DIY gift idea for Father's Day? I know it's coming up, so this will be an amazing gift idea. This is all pretty much from items from the Dollar Tree too. So that is an added bonus today for today's project. You're able to make this for $3 or $4. I obviously use scrap pieces of heat transfer vinyl, which is really awesome, and I think you'll enjoy using it. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe for more DIY videos, and if you love checking out all of the artwork that we have, our membership has thousands of files, hundreds of fonts that you can get access to today with unlimited downloads as soon as you become a member. You can be monthly, 6-month, or a yearly member. Go ahead and check it out at the links down below, and I'll see you back here in the next video. Bye, my friends. All right, y'all, we are back in the car. Times have changed. I now have 2 babies, so it's been a few months hiatus. We're in a new car, but I haven't even told Dylan what we're going, where we're going, what we're doing today, because we're going somewhere new. I am super excited. This is something, again, a crazy TikTok. When he got here to the office, I was like, dude, get in the car. We're going to Walmart, because we found a way that we can engrave or etch onto tumblers without having to use a laser. We are actually using our Cricut today, if it works. So we're gonna test that and find out, what works, what doesn't work. We're doing it together today, and I am so excited because you all have loved our Dollar Tree videos. I am super, super excited that we're able to head to Walmart, because if you guys know, I love Walmart. So we're heading over there. There's one product that we've got to try out, but I've got to let you watch the TikTok because the project looks so good. I did a little R&D, a little research and development last night, and there's not a single YouTube video. So Dylan, you have to edit this video before another YouTuber beats us, because we need this video out. People need to know they don't have to buy a laser. So many of my friends have bought a laser just to do this on tumblers that I think we're about to do with our Cricut, which is kind of mind-blowing. So stay tuned. I mean, how convenient is it that the Dollar Tree is right next door? Hi, Dollar Tree. Bye. Oh, they removed the everything's a dollar sign. Oh my gosh, they took it off. Bye, Dollar Tree. Sir, you didn't use the stop sign. You didn't use the stop sign, sir. Just letting you know, I was being cautious for you, because my papa taught me not to trust nobody's driving, even if they have their turn signal on. He said they may not turn. So, God bless Papa. All right, y'all, so Adrian has the hookup for us today. This is the TikTok that we kind of went crazy about last night.
Powder coating tumblers into a great investment.
Oh my gosh, look at that quality.
Stripping gel.
This is the secret.
After cutting my stencil out and masking off the tumbler, I apply a thick coat of the gel, leaving the gel on for 20 to 40 minutes depending on the thickness of the tumbler
This
coating.
is crazy.
I'm using adhesive vinyl for my stencil.
So she's using adhesive vinyl. She's got the special material.
Of course, you
She's
never
just
put double
applying
wall tumbler in
it.
dishwasher, but I'm testing out the whole
Oh
process
my
and want to
goodness.
see it
20 to
myself.
40 minutes and we should
This
be
tumbler
able
was
to
one of my
see.
first tests using paint
This is
stripper, which I
crazy.
don't recommend. This blue one was made with citrus stripping gel and looks
I mean, it
great.
looks like
So
you
now that
ordered
I had
it
the
from
gel
like
sitting on the
Yeti.com or
stencil For
something.
at least 30 minutes, testing
Like a
occasionally to see
total
if the paint was
custom
bubbly.
engraved.
I'm ready to remove the vinyl and see the results. I'm using very hot water to help remove the vinyl. Then start scrubbing with a
Mind-blowing.
Brillo pad.
So we've got to get a Brillo
Don't
pad.
recommend, if you have to scrub really hard, you may want to let the gel sit
I am
longer.
so excited to
I
put this
scratched
to the
up some
test.
nice gloss coating on one of my tumblers, scratching too hard.
Oh my
And
goodness.
here is the results. I want to test out a very intricate
I'm so
design
excited.
and see they turned out.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, imagine being able to sell these with like custom logos, like putting the Maker's Gonna Learn logo on there. I mean, you could sell this because like on Yeti.com, these cost like an additional, I don't know, like $40, $50, $60 just to engrave a logo onto a cup, which we may be able to do today. So let's go. It's so windy in here today. The first guy let us in. I feel really good about it now. He even said hello. He was really friendly. And I think the citrus stripping is near like the spray paint. So we're close. We're almost to the product. And I just feel like if we make it to the product, we can make it to the tumblers, and then we make it back to the car before we get kicked out. I feel like the Dollar Tree is so friendly. And I just don't know why at Walmart, I just feel like it's more corporate. There's more people. So many people. It's supposed to be here. Citrus strip gel. There's none. It's not good. Okay, I'm gonna make a phone call or two. We're go find some citrus strip, but no, it would normally be right here with like the other strippers, the other material, the gloves, the masks, the Goo Gone. But now we can go ahead and start looking for some tumblers, and then maybe while we're doing that, somebody else will find us some and like bring it to the office. There's another Walmart in town, so we're gonna check there, but you can also find it at like Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that will also carry it from what I did little research last night. So apparently, what if everybody's already finding out about this and making YouTube videos about it? I wanna be the first. So let's find some tumblers. How embarrassing, they don't even have it. Where are the cups? Oh, ooh. Okay, so here's what I love about Walmart. I mean, the variety here is so good. Now there's a few that I definitely want to test because these are the ones like I use at home. So like these right here, they have the straw built in. So I want to definitely pick this one up because I think it'll be really great to do the technique on. I don't know, you want to make sure like it's like powder coated. There's a few other ones that I think you could try out too that I want to test. So doing one like on this type of like steel, I think will turn out pretty well, possibly, I'm not sure. Actually want it in like this size. And then they say that the Ozark Trail doesn't work as well, but I'm still gonna pick some of these up. But the Yeti that she tested worked really well, but who wants to pay Yeti prices, you know what I'm saying? So you could get like a mainstays cup. We're gonna test out a bunch for you because I want you to kind of save the time that we're spending. So let's pick out some more. Dylan, we didn't get a shopping cart and this is bad. I can carry this. Ooh, they have this one. It's just like, oh. Ooh, I would really like a Maker's Gonna Learn logo on this one. Wouldn't that be cool? I think I'm getting this one for myself now. Got a coffee one for Dylan and his business because we're nice here. Now we need to find Brillo pads. Where are Brillo pads? I don't clean. wonder if other people think like I'm just like really thirsty. I mean, the Cricut area. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of Cricut. Like, my mama didn't know what I did. And then one day I brought her here and I said, Mama, like, my business grew as Cricut got more and more shelf space. I mean, they have this huge aisle, which is such a blessing. Like, it's crazy, like all the things that Cricut have done to be able to grow my business and just, you know, teach people how to craft. Okay, oh, okay. Just cleaning up here real quick. Oh, my marker. Okay, go. That shopping cart would be real handy right now. Okay. Put this back. Okay. All right, we gotta go. I don't know what's harder, carrying all this or worrying we're gonna get kicked out. Dylan, we didn't get kicked out. I'm so happy. Did we get the citrus strip? No. But did we make friends with the Walmart staff? Of course. Now we've got somebody finding it for us while we grab lunch. Now, Dylan, you want to know the number one thing I've missed about having an electric car is that, you know, there's no engine, there's no motor, anything like that. So, guess what? Guess where you put all your groceries so they don't like roll all over the back of your car? You of course put it in your front trunk. So look right here. Boom. This is where our tumblers are not going to slide around and break at. In the front trunk! I mean, they've thought of it all. Boom. All right, my friends, we're back in the craft room and we have everything we need. And guess what? We have the citrus strip. This right here is going to be the saving grace for your project. And guess what? This right here is going to keep you from having to buy a laser, and I can't wait to try this TikTok out and see what we think. In addition to the citrus strip, which again, you can find at your local home improvement store, your local Wally World, here's what you need. You need a tumbler that you want to try it out on. This right here, I'm very excited about. I had this one and I thought, what the heck, this would be cool to try. You need the Brillo pads, the Scotch-Brite. I've already put the citrus strip out in just like a little Rubbermaid container and painter's tape. We cut out someone's name with the Atmosphere font from Maker's Gonna Learn. If you guys didn't know, we have a huge cut file library with hundreds of fonts and thousands of cut files at makersgonnalearn.com. I'll teach you also how to master your Cricut machine over there, so check that out if you haven't already. We've already cut it and got it ready. You also need painter's tape, and last but not least, a paintbrush and just a weeding tool. So honestly, I feel like the majority of you have all of these supplies, maybe besides your tumbler and your citrus strip. So it's pretty minimal, and I'm excited to try this out and see how it goes. So what we're gonna do is first apply our stencil onto our tumbler, just like we normally would. It's not super hard or anything like that. So we're gonna do this together, and I'm gonna walk you through the entire process and see what it looks like. So we're just gonna peel the backer off right here. So we have our stencil. Now this is something I need to mention while we're talking about the stencil. Permanent Cricut vinyl will not work for today's project. You need to use a permanent Oracal 651 adhesive vinyl, because there has been some testing, and what they said in the TikTok, she was like, hey, that does not work, it seeps through, because this stuff, you know, is a stripping agent, so it could easily get underneath the tumbler, so you have to use a really high quality vinyl. So we're recommending Oracal 651 per her TikTok, and I'll link it down below so you can check her out too. She's incredible. So now that you have your tumbler here, you can just find the area you want to apply it to, and what we're going to do is just simply apply it down, kind of using the taco method, kinda. We're just going to place it here and then apply it. Now this is where you want to make sure you're burnishing really, really well, because you don't want this to peel up during the stripping process. So I'm using my finger. here's my quick tip. I like to use the back of my weeding tool just to make sure it is going to stay down. This is like one of my favorite tips for making sure vinyl is going to stay down. It works every time. The back of that weeding tool is your best friend. So I'm just going to, again, use that. Make sure the vinyl is staying down. This is so, so good. Looky here. Now, what we're going to do, once this is down, we need to go ahead and remove this. Look at that, the vinyl is staying down so well. So we have it on just like this. What we will do now is you need your painter's tape. Your painter's tape is going to protect your entire surface. Just like when you're etching glass or anything like that, we cover our projects with a lot of painter's tape just to make sure it's not damaged, ruined, or anything like that. Now, you saw me buy a lot of different tumblers. So we're testing those right now in the test studio, and we are getting those ready so we have more comparisons. What I want to mention is, say you're not willing to risk the entire, tumbler to this craft, we found that you could test the bottom. So like a heart, a triangle, a star image, to test it to make sure it would work prior to doing something this large. I felt like since we're making a video about it, we're making it a big deal, I want to go all in on this project. So you can either go all in with me, or you could play it safe and test the bottom. So anyway, I just like to give those disclaimers so you all know kind of like some ideas so you don't waste anything, because we like to make sure, we save money for you guys with every video. So we're just going to apply painter's tape on here. Just make sure it's applied down. And we're going to cover pretty much the entire side of the tumbler that we're going to apply this agent to. So apply some here. Go apply some right here. All right, now we're gonna apply that bottom piece. Okay, so this is looking really good. Now you just wanna take another look at your stencil, take a look at your tumbler. Is there any area that you might still need to secure down? You're gonna be able to keep this pretty contained, so I like that a lot. But you just wanna take a look and see if there's any bubbles, anything that's holding you back from perfection. This is the time, because it's about go time. Like, this does not take much time at all, and I'm like giddy. So now what I'm going to do before I apply it, I need to find something to like sit it in. So I'm gonna find something to sit it in, so we can sit it in there and do some painting. So let me go find something. All right, so I found this right here. This is something that I'm just gonna be able to like sit it in so that we can actually do the painting. So see this right here? You can find this at your local Walmart, anything like that. It usually keeps our weeding supplies in here in the craft studio. So now that you have your paintbrush, our goal is to cover this in a really thick coat. So I'm really excited to see, after we apply this, what is actually gonna happen. Like, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little intrigued, if you will. And with this being a thinner design, she said in the TikTok, it won't take as long to set. So this could take as short as like 15, 20 minutes, up to 2 hours for some of those thicker ones. So anyway, I'm nervous. One of my coworkers said that this smelled like Tums, which I thought was an interesting comparison. So we're just gonna make sure it's thick. This is not something you want to put thin on here. I want you all to know, this reminds me so much like etching glass. So if you've etched glass before, I think this project could be really good for you and be a lot of fun. So again, notice I'm just making sure it's thick. I'm taking my time, making sure it's nice and thick. I see some areas that I need to make sure it's like thicker on, so I'm just gonna go around, make sure that is there. here's what we've been able to do. We've covered this really thick. So what we'll do now is we're gonna let this sit for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna check in with our handy dandy weeding tool to see like what's happening to it. That's a tip that she gave that I think is really interesting. I mean, this is where it's totally different than etching glass. So I'm super excited to check in, find out. All right, my friends, so let's check on this one right here. You can see that it is like falling off. Like, this is shocking at how it's just like literally falling off. So what we're gonna do now is head over to the sink. We're going to the sink, we're gonna take the Brillo pad, and we're going to scrub this and see the big reveal. Like, are you all ready for this? This is what this entire video has been about, to see how this works. And I'm going to maybe even get to peek in and see how they're doing testing the other ones. So let's go ahead and head on over. Okay, so we're actually going in the studio so you all can see a little behind the scenes of the studio. Say hello, we're going to scrub this. I'm so excited. Guys, I'm so excited to show you all our bathroom. This right here, we just did it. Oh my gosh, Dylan, what the heck? Okay, y'all, if I should be wearing gloves, I don't even know. Like, I apologize. It's not on my hands. I'm just letting you all know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. This is crazy. What in the world? What in the world? I think the blue needed to be sit a little longer. Okay, so I kind of made a mistake, and it was because I got too aggressive. So what I find really interesting is that the darker blue top came off really quick, like effortless, and then this darker blue must have been a little thicker. So I started scrubbing a lot more, and it started coming off. It just wasn't coming off as easy. So also tore a little bit of the vinyl. So you need to be very careful that your pad doesn't like eat up some of your vinyl, because as you come in here, if you come on in, you can see like this part of the K, you know, there was vinyl there and now there's not. But as you see, these edges are not perfect, but if you look at the YLER, oh my gosh, like this result is unbelievable. But for a first one, I mean, I'm still considering this a win. This is incredible. I might go ahead and apply a little bit more just to the areas that aren't coming off. Because if you look again, like I could probably scrub a little bit more and clean up this edge, I think. Oh, Courtney is now here. She's like part of the R&D team. Oh my gosh. So Courtney also recommends having the weeding tool. Be careful. No, don't do that. That's part of it.
Well, if it's done correctly, it shouldn't, like, you should be able to scratch the
Oh.
other part.
Oh, interesting. See the blue? I mean, it just didn't turn out as well. So do you think, would you apply more? I wonder what you would do.
I would take your vinyl off and,
Yeah, and then clean it up a little bit more?
yeah.
Okay, look at this. So we're not even running under the sink. What do you think? So we're gonna run it under the sink and just like get all the debris off, make sure it's nice and cleaned off. We'll be able to apply any, you know, remove all this tape and vinyl. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Look at that. So we're gonna clean up these edges. So let's go back out to the studio. I'm gonna get some paper towel. All right, y'all, so I've thought through this a little bit more. Here's what we're gonna do. We didn't use the weeding tool at all to like clean up the edges before we started like really Brillo padding it. So what we're gonna do, we're going to go through any area that looks like the edges are a little like grungy or anything like that. We're going to be able to use the weeding tool, kind of scratch a little just to, you know, work it out. And if it's not part of, you know, we've removed the stencil. So if it's not been, you know, had this on here, it's not gonna be affected. So what I mean by that is some of these edges just need to be, you know, scratched a little, and then we'll go back in with that Brillo pad. So we'll be able to go back in with that Brillo pad and scrub off any of this excess so that we have the clean edge that we want. Because as you can see here, this area has definitely been touched by the stencil, but for whatever reason, it's not perfectly cleared up. So then, you know, we've scrubbed that. You could go in with the Brillo pad, scrub it off, see how that looks. And you can see now what used to be like super, scratched up and whatnot is super, super, super smooth, which I love, 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 love. But you just gotta be super careful. All right, my friends, so we cleaned up the edges a little bit, and honestly, I consider this a success. For my first one, I learned so much about this process, and I feel like this would be the same process if for some reason I had a very expensive laser and I was wanting to do this. I don't think your first one is gonna be perfect, but honestly, for this being my first one, like, I'm really happy with it. Like, I love this. I could give it as a gift. I would use it for myself, anything like that. I mean, it turned out so, so good. And I think you guys are gonna really enjoy this process. Now, we have the team testing out a bunch of other ones. We're going to clean off a thicker one that is like more like the powder coated tumbler. So you can see that process too. And then we're gonna go through all the different tumblers we tried, what we found out with each one, would it work, would it not? This one definitely was a win, and I love it so, so much. Okay, Dylan, this is like the true powder coated one. And as you can see, we've tested it to make sure that all this is gonna come off. And obviously it's like ready to come off. So I'm a little nervous because this is like really detailed. So we'll see, but this ought to be fun. I feel like if you can get this logo to work, you'll be able to get any logo to work. And I think this would be so cool to sell as a business. Like, to be able to sell these would be absolutely insane. Look at this. So I'm gonna be a little bit lighter on the scratching. I felt like before I was a little invasive, but now it's going really well. And I might like stop here in a second, get my weeding tool, and just like scratch the edges just to make sure they're coming up properly. I haven't figured out my technique. I feel like just back and forth is better than going in circles. I don't know, so I'm trying to find that out. Oh my gosh, it's revealing the stars. I thought that was gonna be a craft fail. Oh, what? What is happening? Oh my gosh. Look at how good this looks. Like, I'm shocked at how well this is working. Look at that. Oh my gosh. This is looking so good. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, my friends, what a whirlwind of a day together. We have been crafting literally all day, testing out all of our different ideas, making sure that we bring you the best knowledge. And by the time we've made quite a few tumblers, we know a thing or two about our citrus strip and what you need to do. So what we've done is we have kind of made two different areas, the ones that have worked really, really well, and the ones that not so much. So what we're gonna do, starting off with these two, these are from the Walmart, and they were $7, and they turned out amazing. Like, love, love, love the quality. This turned out so good. It only took like less than 10 minutes to set, which I think was like excellent for someone like me that's a procrastinator. And you can make these for some kids or anything like that. These are perfect. This is actually found in the kids section. So you can see these two right here. Now, this one right here is actually really interesting. I got this at Five Below over a year ago, and this was just in my cabinet, and we were rating our personal home supply, and was like, ooh, like maybe this would be like a good solution. And it worked really well too. Again, it's thinner, so it didn't take the full like 20 minutes or more. So this one turned out extremely well, and again, only like $5. So definitely a winner chicken dinner. Next up is the Yeti. So notice the Yeti we did a small test on because again, it's a Yeti, guys, and these are like upwards of $40. So this one works extremely well, but there's a but here. Remember, these take like 10, 15 minutes. This is gonna take about 2 hours. Now, what we recommend is about halfway there. You may want to, check with your weeding tool and, wipe it off and put a second coat. That's kind of like a hypothesis we're testing. So if you're really wanting best results to work fast, halfway through, you may want to wipe it off and apply a whole new coat. That's something that we're trying to perfect. But again, this is like, we've done a lot in a short amount of time. We're just kind of giving you our journey and our first results, which have been really, really great. Now, next one is a simple modern one, and this was not anywhere close to the price of the Yeti. This was like $15 at Walmart, and it turned out so good. So we just did a little, this is our little scissors that Maker's Gonna Learn, and we're really happy with the results of this one. So I think you all will be really proud of your results too, so stay tuned with that one. This cup right here I think is like $9 to $12, and it turned out okay. I don't know if I just like scrubbed too hard. I think I know I did some scrubbing after I removed the stencil. What we recommend now after testing this one is make sure you're scrubbing with the stencil on. Don't, try to do any scrubbing or very minimal scrubbing after you remove it, because some of it could go over into the other areas, and you want it to look clean and professional, right? We're wanting to make this look like you didn't have to buy a laser to get this amazing look, and this is a lot more affordable. So that is one of tip for you. And this one, again, had great results. I would say maybe even crisper results than our first ones we talked about. But this was just like a little clearance one we got at Walmart, and we are really, really happy with how this one turned out. And this one was kind of a showstopper. We couldn't believe with how thick this was and whatnot. This is actually Dylan's logo, who is filming for us right now. And it turned out so good. I mean, the edges are so crisp. We love it, and it turned out really, really good for such a detailed image. I think with both of these right here, such detailed images, like look at those stars. I mean, the stars are incredible, and we really love it. So these are all the ones that I think are like get an A+, like they're a met expectation or exceeded expectation, right? Let's talk about some that didn't meet expectation. Starting off with my favorite water bottle brand, the Hydro Flask. We tried to do a little heart down here with the Hydro Flask, and it didn't even come anywhere close. Like this coating and the Yeti coating, two different coatings, which is crazy. Nothing seemed to like even break ground with the Hydro Flask. So you just want to be careful with that. I love Hydro Flask, but not for today's project. Next up, this one is a Built, and the Built one was a struggle bus. And just to recap, it may not be like all a Built, because I think, there's other Built ones out there that could be powder coated and things, but these like thin metallic-y ones did not work well for us, but we had other, metallic-y ones work well. They're just two different brands. So that's why we really recommend, two very similar ones. They may give different results. So maybe you do a little test on the bottom just so you don't waste anything. Because I would have expected this in my hypothesis to be like, oh my gosh, this will turn out great. Next up is Ozark Trail. And you kind of expect Ozark to be like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like Ozark would be a winner. No. Ozark, the edges were rough and tough compared to either one of these two right here, or really any of these three. The results just were not good. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. I don't want to put you all through what we went through. And then last but not least, this is our Bell Property Company logo. This is a Mainstays cup. And again, nothing really seemed to budge with it. A little bit, but not near enough to have actual results. And that, my friends, has been conclusion of all our different cups, all our different tests using this amazing citrus strip. I am so excited. If you guys want more videos, if you're like, Tanner, I want to start this journey with you, I feel behind, I want to get caught up, let me know. Drop me a comment right now in the comments. Tanner, do a live stream on this. Tanner, make more videos around this. I want to know more. Let me know, because we would love to serve you guys and share all that we can around this technique, because we think it's super awesome that, again, you too can be able to etch or engrave without a laser with a product that is like less than $15, which is pretty incredible. Now, my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We love taking you on the road. We love shopping with you. We love getting to do this whole experience together. So if you loved this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to Maker's Gonna Learn for new DIY tutorials every single week. If you are not already a member to our membership community, Maker's Gonna Learn, you are missing out, my friend. With over 15,000 fellow creatives in the community, thousands of cut files, hundreds of fonts, bonus training courses included, you are missing out. I don't want you to miss out any longer. So check out a special offer down below. We would love to see you in our community. And until we meet again, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.